I'm stumbling home at 6 a.m. in the morning, drunk, alone, and I'm sobbing. And by the way, it's also my 19th birthday. Great. I was out drinking all night with my friends. Each time I'd finish my beer, they'd hand me another one. I'd finish a shot of vodka they bought for me, they'd hand me another one, and another, and another, and another, until I was blackout drunk. I arrive home at my parents' house so drunk and confused that I sleep in the wrong room, and I look up at the ceiling, delirious, thinking, what on earth am I doing with my life? I never thought I had a problem with alcohol. Sure, I started drinking at 15 years old, but everyone did that in the UK, so that's normal, right? But it doesn't stop there, because as a 19-year-old, I go off to university, and for the next 3 years, I go out and out clubbing and trying to make friends and trying to be cool and trying to be popular. I find myself going out 3 or 4 times a week, full on benders, drinking as much as possible, spending all of my student loan. And one bad habit leads to another, as they often say. So I would get an unhealthy takeaway on the way home. I get home at 3 in the morning and get like 4 hours of sleep. I would social smoke while I was out drinking with everyone. Just terrible, terrible habits. And then I'd wake up with an awful hangover, and all of my housemates would be clapping me and cheering me on, and they were congratulating me on destroying my body the night before, because that's the UK culture. More bad habits came into my life. I stopped working out, and my life got worse. Now, I wasn't just waking up with hangovers, I was waking up with severe anxiety. But then everything changed. I moved to London, I was a working actor, and I ended up booking my dream acting job in Japan. I knew I couldn't mess this up. So I arrive in Osaka, absolutely ecstatic, and I meet this girl who's also working there called Maddie. Immediately I fancied her. I thought she'd never go for me, but she gave me a shot and we started dating. Now I had 2 massive reasons not to mess anything up: my dream job and my dream partner. And there was one glaringly obvious thing I needed to do, and that was quit alcohol. Quit this terrible, terrible habit. But I had no idea how to do this. I was scared. I was alone in a foreign country. And then it dawned on me. I had moved to a new country with a completely new group of people. Months later, I haven't even touched a single drop of booze. I'm working out consistently, eating healthy. I'm making friends for life. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt genuinely happy. But here's the truth. Friends and family aside, if you keep going with your bad habits, it will destroy you. Imagine if you let this unhealthy habit continue for the next 10 years. What would your life look like? Reducing the quality years that you could have been building your dream career, building a beautiful family, building a new skill. Fear not, as someone who has quit alcohol, smoking, and binge eating junk food all the time, I have broken so many habits in the past that I've actually developed my own framework that I know through life experience actually works and will actually give you results. So I built this system called the Thrive Formula. Let's get into it. Number 1 is admit and identify your problems. When we ignore our problems, we stay the same despite them making us feel miserable. It's easier for others to persuade us to do bad things to our body because we're in this thoughtless state. But the act of admitting you have a problem creates huge momentum. So I've got some homework for you. Sit down with a piece of paper and write all the bad health habits in your life. Write every single one down. Underline or highlight the ones that are really dominating you, the ones that are making you feel really awful, and be super specific here. Guys, by doing this, you're going to get ahead of 99% of people, because 99% of people rather live life in denial that they've got any problem at all. And a quick tip is, I love using this technique by David Goggins called the accountability mirror, and you write out any goals you're trying to set or any bad habits you're trying to break on a post-it note, and you stick them on a mirror that you use every day, like your bathroom. This just gives you daily accountability of what you're working towards. Number 2 is remove all triggers in your life. Triggers are either the habit itself or anything that tempts you to do the habit. When I first went sober, I would really struggle watching Netflix because every other scene, someone was drinking alcohol, taking a shot of vodka, drinking a beer, and it was really tempting to go out and drink because I saw people getting pleasure from this activity. So try and cut all triggers out wherever possible. Do your absolute best because it will just make quitting so much easier. Number 3 is start saying no. Our goal is to not only remove this habit, but to reframe our mindset. We've been conditioned by our friends and family that this bad habit is normal, but it's not. Like we were talking about earlier, humans are very tribal. If everyone eats cake, you eat cake. If everyone's smoking cigarettes, you'll probably smoke cigarettes. If everybody is playing video games for their whole entire day, you'll probably do the same. But when we say no, we are one step closer to becoming the healthiest version of ourselves. Of course, this is easier said than done. I remember when I told my old drinking buddies that I wasn't coming out to the pub that night, and I was absolutely hounded by them. Saying no to your friends and family doesn't have to go down like that for you. The way you get your friends and family to understand is by being direct, clear and concise. If anybody's ever offered me a beer or a vodka in the past and I've gone, no, I think I'm okay tonight, thanks. I don't really feel like it. They'll be like, go on, because they can see that I'm apprehensive. They can see that I haven't quite made my mind up yet, that they probably could persuade me to be like them. But if somebody goes, Sam, do you want a beer? And I go, no, thank you. Usually being that clear and direct is enough for people not to say anything about it again. And if you don't mind doing this, I don't mind doing it. If somebody goes, do you want a beer? Do you want a cigarette? Just go, no, thank you. I'm a recovering addict. Even if you're not an addict, it might seem extreme, but suddenly it makes people take a step back. And for some reason, when you're an addict, they take it seriously. But when you've just got a problem, it's not. It's really weird. I don't know why society's like that, but it works. Basically tell them how serious it is to you. If they're a good person in your family and friendship circle, then actually you're going to get them on your side to then be supportive and hold you accountable. But there are certain friends and family that will try and test you. They see it as a game to try and make you fail and trip up. Be really careful about those people. Number 4 is develop a mantra. This absolutely saved me. When I really was tempted to drink alcohol, I needed another tool in my arsenal, and this was developing my own mantra. It's a complete identity shift. In the incredible book Atomic Habits by James Clear, he basically says when we shift our identity to that of a healthy person, we want to do more healthy habits and avoid the unhealthy ones. The same thing applies to a mantra. It enforces that healthy identity we're trying to build. So where do you start with creating your own mantra? With whatever will persuade you not to do the bad habit. And feel free to be dramatic and really exaggerate using strong vocabulary and ideas in the mantra. Here's a taste of what mine sounds like. You can only drink until you get blackout drunk, where you make awful decisions. And you'll wake up in the morning with debilitating anxiety, an awful hangover, and having ruined everything. It's pretty upsetting, right? That's the goal. You're trying to create a morbid idea of what your life could look like if you continue with this bad habit. This might seem really dramatic to some people, and honestly, I don't care, because it works, and it's worked for me, and it could work for you. Number 5 is replace bad habits with good ones. Andrew Huberman says that dopamine is not the reward, it's the build-up to the reward. We don't actually get much pleasure from doing the bad habit over and over again. We get just enough to keep ourselves satisfied and comfortable and wanting to repeat it. What actually releases proper amounts of dopamine is putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations, sort of seeking a healthy amount of pain. By pain, I mean that sort of feeling you get when you're tired at the gym or when you're a bit chilly in a cold plunge. Now, bad habits are still bad habits. They're very sticky because they have wiggled their way into our brains and into our bodies, and they feel natural for us to do. We're trying to get out of this. And that's why we find a replacement habit for it. Now, it doesn't feel like we're going cold turkey because we have a good habit to replace the bad habit with. What good habit should you replace your bad habit for? Well, if you want my opinion, something that 1, keeps you away from the bad habit, and 2, improves your life. Even better, pick a good habit that you've always wanted to try. For me, I replace my bad habit of binge drinking with learning to play piano, a skill that I've always wanted to get better at. Now, I didn't invent this idea myself. This came from the book Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, where he talks about a story about how his father was trying to quit smoking cigarettes. And the trigger for him was getting into his car. But when he was trying to quit smoking, he would replace his cigarettes in the car with lollipops. Every time he went and sat in the car, instead of reaching for cigarettes, he was now reaching for a lollipop, something that he could touch with his hands and put in his mouth like a cigarette, but it was replacing the bad habit and giving himself something to do. Number 6 is carry around a notebook with you and track progress. I like to use the old-fashioned method of a notepad and pen because it's something physical and real. I want you to start logging in your notebook every time you, 1, failed at the bad habit, and number 2, every time you succeeded at not doing the bad habit, and number 3, try and do a daily entry of how you feel when you're not doing the bad habit. Why does this work? Well, logging failures sees where we need to improve and where we need to get better, and 2, logging successes is a very inspiring and motivating thing for us to see. It pushes us to keep going. You'll feel so proud of yourself that you're breaking this bad habit and staying strong that you'll just want to keep going. Number 7 is find your real tribe. Main reason you're stuck where you are right now is because of the circle around you. A lot of these people, they don't care about your health. They don't care about you living for as long as possible. They just care about how you make them feel. And when you're doing the bad habit with them, they feel better about themselves because they feel like they're not the only one. And that's why they treat you like rubbish whenever you don't conform to their way of life. Now, I'm not going to go the old school method of saying cut these people out of your life unless that is something you feel like you need to do. Oftentimes, it's impossible because they might actually be blood relatives that you have to see. But if they're really pressuring you, you've been clear and direct that you're not going to do the bad habit anymore, and they keep going, you might just need to say to them, right, I'm going to have a bit of space from you, and take that space, just so they know how serious this is. People eventually get bored, okay? They're not going to keep going after a certain amount of time. Now you'll have more energy to focus on finding the real group of people in your life who are going to be supportive and caring about you and your health. Now, finding a supportive friendship circle can be a very slow burn. So here are a few starting points. Number 1, fitness clubs that you like to join. Number 2 is online forums like Discord or Reddit. Number 3 is you could start making content about your journey, kind of like what I'm doing. I'll get really cool people message me and then I'll become friends with them, which is really cool. Another option is you could find a new job, maybe in a place that you are more inspired by. Another option is co-working spaces. Church is full of beautiful, kind, loving, friendly people who want to see you succeed. And if you really need it, there's no shame in this. You can go to a support group for addiction. But the important thing to remember here is that 9 times out of 10, you'll need to make the first move with making friends. Most people don't make the first move. That's just life. And if you put the effort into building a relationship with them and to be genuinely interested in them as a person, they're going to see this and they're going to want to be friends with you too. Number 8 is set 2 ambitious goals. For the first few years of running, I saw no improvement, and that's because I had no goal. Now I run every single day. I've completed 2 marathons and I've got my 3rd coming up because I've set goals. So grab a pen and paper right now, write down a few big goals that you want to achieve, maybe write 10 or 20 down, and then focus on the one most important goal that you want to achieve right now. Now, the reason I recommend setting 2 goals instead of 1 is because the first goal is basically you breaking the habit. So the first goal could be like, I'm not going to do this bad habit for X amount of days. Next, I want you to add your second goal, and this second goal is just something that you really want to achieve in your life that will make you a happier, healthier, fitter person. What have you always wanted to do? Maybe run a 10K, maybe bench press a certain amount of weight. Also, it doesn't have to be a fitness goal. It could be learning to paint. It could be photography or starting a YouTube channel. The reason for this second goal is because it gives your life more purpose. It helps you realize how beautiful life is, and it reminds you why you should keep going at not doing the bad habit. Now, the Thrive formula is an actionable approach to break these bad habits that have been pressurized into your system by society and friends and family. But don't get me wrong, this will not be easy. Expect a lot of resistance in the first few months from friends, family, and even yourself. But remember, this is normal for a complete lifestyle change. Your life is about to get so much better. Of course it's going to be difficult, because if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. Yet the beauty of the Thrive formula is that the next bad habit that you want to break, it will be so much easier. So come back to this video, take some notes, and use this formula whenever you need to break a bad habit. Having this formula is a superpower in the modern world. By learning to say no and putting your health first, you are bettering your health more than 99% of people. If you found this video or this system helpful in any way at all whatsoever, then subscribe to my free weekly newsletter that has more helpful, actionable tips like this, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like these. It helps me give you the best content possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.